Hello everyone, my name is Christian, welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are on October 29th, day 29 of Spooktober. It's the final 3 days. We got 2 more days after this. So I'm so happy that I found a movie that wasn't at all bad. This was a blind buy that came in the mail recently. It's a John Carpenter film from 1995. This is In the Mouth of Madness. And I did not switch the cover around because I love this cover. So this is a movie about Sam Neill, who's a private investigator who kind of goes around investigating people's insurance claims and just kind of digging up the truth about things. And he gets hired on to find a best-selling author who has disappeared, and he writes basically horror novels, kind of like Stephen King, and they make it a point that he's like even more successful than Stephen King. And of course, this is the 90s, where Stephen King was a household name by this point. So he goes on to investigate with his with the author's editor, who is just really interesting to watch as Sam Neill kind of goes through the story and his interactions with her, because she and one other person has read this new novel by this Sutter Kane. So I don't know if that was subtle or not. Sutter Kane and Stephen King, those names sound very familiar, but this is very much just an amazing movie. It's not up there with The Thing or Halloween, although Halloween I don't think is his best work. I think it's just more interesting in terms of studying its place in the horror genre and that kind of transition point from giallo type movies, type horror films, to the slasher genre of the 80s. But this is up there almost with The Thing, which is my favorite John Carpenter film. This is a star-studded cast. I had a crazy moment while the credits was playing and that awesome Not Metallica song was playing, where you see the cast listing. I was just kind of looking at it. That's what I do with every movie, is I look at the cast listing just to see if I know any names. And this time I did. Hayden Christensen showed up in the credits, and I was like, Anakin Skywalker was in this movie? And ends up he was the paper boy. So I looked him up on Google Images, just be like, who was he? And he's a small little boy in this movie. Would have been interesting to see him in Phantom Menace instead of Jake Lloyd, who I don't blame him for being a bad actor, but man, I think he looks just like what Anakin kind of is supposed to look like. But that's a whole other discussion. But he shows up. Charlton Heston is in this. He's in Planet of the Apes, I believe, and Soylent Green. So I haven't seen Soylent Green, so I can't really speak to that, but the effects are amazing. This is right at the cusp of the transition into CGI. I thought this movie came out before Jurassic Park because Sam Neill was in this, but ends up it came out in 1995. So this movie is just older than me, but the creature effects were amazing. This is like a Lovecraftian cosmic horror movie, which there are not enough movies about that, in my opinion. Color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage is really, really good. Probably my favorite of the Lovecraftian genre, and I guess The Thing can also factor into the genre. But this movie was just a joy the entire way through. A lot of the kills were just insane. The atmosphere was just phenomenal. they get teleported to the fictional town that this author is writing, and he kind of breaks the fourth wall a bit in terms of what the movie is. Like, he wasn't talking to us, the audience, he was talking to Sam Neill's character, while also bringing to life his novels. And it was just so interesting. The only issue I had is that after the big climax of the movie, it kind of drags for like 5 minutes there, and that part was just really hard to watch because it's really moody, and Sam Neill was just kind of walking around in this seemingly post-apocalyptic world. And then it picks up again for the final few minutes. But yeah, this movie is insane, and I love that for this release they got John Carpenter back to do a new audio commentary. This is a 4K restoration. It's not on 4K, so it makes me think that, especially with the Halloween movies now on 4K from Shout Factory, they might go back and do this. I don't know if it's worth watching on 4K, but this looks really good. Yeah, this movie was just a joy. I'm trying to think anything else to talk about in this movie, but yeah, this movie was just wonderful. It would be a great I guess it would fit in with a triple feature, because I always say Reanimator and From Beyond by Stuart Gordon are great double features, but this movie is a great double feature with From Beyond, not really with Reanimator, but wow, really happy that this turned out being really good. Because usually when I blind buy stuff from Shout Factory, like Strays or okay, maybe it's just Strays that was a complete dud in my opinion, but doing good so far. Shout Factory doing really good. So I think that's it. I know it's a little short, but I'm still kind of processing this movie, and I don't love it, but I really like it. So definitely a strong 4 out of 5 for me. Or I guess 8 or 9 out of 10, because I have a kind of rating scale in my head, which I don't do for this channel ever, because I don't like ratings. I don't like boxing myself in with a number. But 8 or 9 out of 10 for me is basically very rewatchable or very good, that I just immediately want to rewatch it. But 10 out of 10, of course, is perfect movie for me, at least, such as Tampopo, Seven Samurai, all those. So that is it. Oh, one last point. This was a new watch for me, and being John Carpenter, I was very nervous about this movie going in, because a lot of people talk about it, but I don't really hear like thoughts about it, and I have been avoiding any discussions on this, so I went in completely blind. But yeah, I'm so happy that I am still finding really good John Carpenter movies. Hopefully the later 90s movies that I haven't seen yet aren't as bad as I hear they are, such as Ghosts of Mars. Vampires, I've heard, is pretty bad, but I don't like to go in with expectations for movies, unless it's someone like John Carpenter, who I have expectations with, because he's a master of his craft. So yeah, thank you all for watching.